Hey guys, my name is Pablo Bravo, and today we're going to be talking about the use of force on policing and how we can prevent police brutality. And we're looking for solutions to determine what's a better way to an officer approach an individual and what we can do to make better in society. The use of force on policing is a very serious topic, because it affects us and it affects the department and the system. Police officers are trained specifically how to deal with the situations, make the situation the first as possible. First of all, we're going to be seeing some examples of video evidence, how we can see the police department acting reckless and very intolerant, and that's why very people are mad and disappointed. They feel like this is a bigger issue. This is not just about police brutality, this is more about racism and having the minorities as a target.
Police video shows this handcuffed man repeatedly tased outside a Virginia hospital before dying in police custody. The police brought him to that hospital, but they never took him inside for help. For Linwood Lambert's family, it's been an agonizing mystery until now. New video obtained exclusively by MSNBC shows every moment of a hospital trip that turned deadly. Police rules caution against repeat tasings, but officers tased Lambert at the door to the ER. Again as he lay on the ground. Then again in a squad car. Discharging 20 tasings, including while he was restrained, a violation of their own rules.
On the case of Lambert, we can clearly see a very reckless police officer job and the use of force to the extreme. To the case of Lambert, when the first place the call was made for a disturbing call, they realized that he was under the influence, something was going on with him, so he was transported to a hospital. He made the mistake because he was under the influence of cocaine to smash a police officer window. By the time he smashed it, he ran away. Taser were deployed, which is understandable because they were trying to control him, but not to the point when the reports show that the taser were deployed more than 20 times. Not all tasers made the target, but definitely he received more than 10 shots, which is incredible for a human being to absorb that much electricity. They didn't even took him inside the hospital. He went directly to the police station. When he arrived to the police station, they called for help because Lambert was dead. So he went back to the hospital, but dead. Another procedure they fell in was because you only allowed to deploy your taser when the victim is not under control. Clearly, after 6 tasers, he's under control, which makes no sense on why people are targeting the police department as brutal and abusing. Right now we're going to see another video where the police department interact with a mental ill, in which they assume they're trained. We can clearly see in this video that they didn't do anything regarding to this situation.
Arriving for what they expect will be a routine disturbance call. Other officers had been to this home dozens of times before. This time would be different, and it's all about to be captured on the officer's body camera.
Hello, what's going on? How you doing, man? What's going on?
Shirley Harrison answers the door. She'd called police about her son Jason. He's bipolar schizophrenic and off his medication. She's trying to get him to the hospital.
Oh, this is off the chain. Incoherent.
Who's that?
Chopping up people in the sun. Bipolar schizo.
What's going on?
As Shirley walks out, police notice a screwdriver in her son Jason's hand. What happens next is hard to watch.
You drop that for me. Drop that for me, guy.
Jay!
Drop it.
Jay!
Drop it.
Jay!
In this case, we clearly have a lack of resources, and we can clearly see that this officer were not prepared. The mother of the victim was clearly made it on the call that she wanted to train officers with enough experience for mental illness. In this case, I understand he had a screwdriver on his hand, but we can clearly see in the video, and it's very controversial, that he was shot and there was no action towards de-escalating the situation. So now the question is, do you guys think that the use of force on police department is struggling, and the point of view is more towards racism, or you think it's because they're not receiving enough training, or you think because the system makes it feel like they got power and they don't do anything about it? Most of these officers, the first video we saw, 3 officers in the video, including the sergeant there, they were both being promoted. Nothing's being done towards these individuals after seeing the 20 deployed tasers, which is crazy. The other video, we can clearly see was very serious secret assassin, which they were trained supposedly for. It was a mental ill guy. He shouldn't escalate the situation. So now we can both see in this video that the targets were African American individuals. So this is more about racism, or what do you think it's about? Lack of training? We can now gonna see a video that is very popular, though we all can relate to. We all probably seen it in the news.
He was illegally selling cigarettes in Staten Island. The arrest was captured by a cell phone camera. Within seconds, Officer Daniel Pantaleo had wrapped his arms around Garner's neck. Garner's cries of "I can't breathe" 11 times are among the last words he spoke before his death.
The case of Eric Garner was clearly one of the main ones in this case, is because Eric Garner was target, which he received illegal choke. He clearly died in this video when he was asking that he couldn't breathe more than 20 times, which was very controversy after there was over 7 officers stopped with him. I don't believe you need 7 officers to arrest an individual, which is clearly not armed. But this is more, do you think police should have done something different in this case? We went around the school, I went asking different students of his community college, which has nothing to do with criminal measures, and I asked their opinions on what they think about police brutality and what they think of use of force on the police department. Alright, so what do you think of police brutality?
I think that police brutality is mostly based on race.
Why do you think that?
Most of the cases on the news are related to racism, and they target people of color.
So you think all policemen are racist?
I think that most of them, yes.
Okay. Do you think they use the taser too much?
Yes, they abuse of its power.
They abuse of the power by tasing people? You think that the taser is a very lethal weapon, or
Yes.
do you think it's very dangerous, or you think it's right to be tasing people?
I think it's very dangerous, but somehow you have to stop people from doing stuff. So using it one time will be correct.
So you said it would be good to use, but only once.
Correct.
All right, thank you. All right, so what do you think of police brutality?
I think there's 2 sides of every story, and it's the same case in this. So some police, like, they do take it out of hand. They use racism, like their own racist ideas. They abuse their power in order to like act upon that. But other times, there's also people who like are getting arrested that also attack policemen at first, like people who are under the influence or like incapacitated in some way, like they're not thinking straight. So I feel like policemen, they also have, like some policemen have the fear that like they're gonna get attacked, so they attack first.
Okay.
But sometimes they use racism, so there's 2 sides of every story.
All right, what do you think of them using the taser, like just a regular, like a regular notebook? They use the taser every second for any reason.
It's definitely better than a gun, I'll tell you that right now. But I feel like,
But it can be deadly also.
yeah, I feel like it should be exercised with caution. Like you shouldn't blow it too out of proportion. You get me?
All right.
Like there should be certain steps before you use a taser, and like that should be in place.
All right, thank you. What do you think of police brutality?
I think that it's a very big issue nowadays because of the fact that now people don't trust the police. People can't go to the police for certain things because they're scared. Like, there've been a lot of situations where, in all honesty, police are what we try to avoid.
Okay, do you think police sometimes can be racist, or you think they're racist at all?
I can't say all police are racist, but there have been a lot of issues about that.
Okay. One question: do you know what a taser is?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of police using or overusing the taser?
I mean, like you said, it's an overuse. I feel like the only time a taser should be pulled out is when in an emergency, when they actually need to use it. But some of them just take advantage.
So how many times do you think it's good to use a taser on one single person?
The amount of times, or like in a situation.
Yeah, like an amount of time that a suspect should be tased. How many times you think it should be tased? Until you think it's safe enough?
I mean, I personally haven't been tased, so I wouldn't know the strength of a taser, but I do know that, it should be enough at least to just hold them for a second till they arrest the person or whatever the case is. Never to the extremes where the person is getting too hurt.
After seeing these 3 interviews, we can clearly see that people do believe that police department do have a target against minority, and they do believe that in some circumstances they need more training, and they understandable which is right and which is not. These 3 students are not criminal justice majors, so that's why we can see a point of view from a different perspective. Now we're going to be focusing on. Now let's focus on solutions. What can we do to make the use of force on police department better? How can we interact as a police officers with individuals without hurting them or abusing their rights? I believe police department needs to do more training and do more digging into where they situate the different police officers. I believe that a police officer should be situated where they feel comfortable and where they can identify themselves in it. That way they can abuse the power or use racism against. So I believe police officers should be relocated and be represented by the community they work in. That way there's no this type of discrimination. And we also believe that we should have civilians have more rights, and we can identify more as a community and as a target for the police department. Another thing I want to point out is that police officers should be afraid of the consequences. That instead of being held by the system should promise and compromise more effectively against police officers. And if they do something wrong, they should be punished. Currently has the same punishment when they're used against civilian. Another thing we should point out is these police officers also have families, and they should think about how they want their families to be treated. That will be everything for today's video. I'm also going to be leaving a chat open when I can get questions and thoughts about what do you think about police department and the use of force on policing. I also want to be receiving requests. I'm going to leave my email in the description. That way we can get some thoughts and we can get together and discuss about police force. I'll also be receiving some questions. I would like to receive credit for everyone who helped me do this video. I'll leave the names in the description as well. My name is Pablo Bravo, and this is going to be my presentation for today.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.